The Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, O Lord. Then Jesus looked up at his disciples and said, "Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you who are hungry now, for you will be filled. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh. Blessed are you when people hate you and when they exclude you, revile you, and defame you on account of the Son of Man. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for surely your reward is great in heaven. For that is what their ancestors did to the prophets. But woe to you who are rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe to you who are full now, for you will be hungry. Woe to you who are laughing now, for you will mourn and weep. Woe to you when all speak well of you, for that is what their ancestors did to the false prophets. But I say to you that listen, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who abuse you. If anyone strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And from anyone who takes away your coat, do not withhold even your shirt. Give to anyone who begs from you. And if anyone takes away your goods, do not ask for them again. Do to others as you would have them do to you." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. As you walk into the Basilica of the Sacred Heart on the campus of the University of Notre Dame, the view is awe-inspiring. Cavernous ceilings adorned with painted frescoes of angels, brightly colored stained glass windows, a magnificent organ with thousands of pipes, and not just one, but 3 altars, and an array of side chapels just outside of the sanctuary proper for more private moments of prayer and devotion. After walking past the first altar in the basilica's transepts, and then the high altar behind that, and then the Lady Chapel at the end of the basilica, you can also visit the Reliquary Chapel. This small and unassuming room, tucked away on a college campus in South Bend, Indiana, just so happens to be home to over 1,600 relics from nearly 800 different saints. The practice of curating and preserving relics, from the Latin word for remains, which is kind of gruesome when you think about it, but this practice goes back for centuries in the history of the church. And there are even different classes of relics. Relics that are parts of a saint's body are considered first-class relics. Fragments of their clothing or items that they used during their lifetime are second class, and still other items that have physically touched a first-class relic become themselves third class. Now, while most of the relics housed in the basilica are very tiny fragments of cloth or bone kept in rather unremarkable, small, quarter-sized medallions, others are a little more noticeable. One of the first things you would see upon entering the Reliquary Chapel is a wax model of the body of Saint Severa, a 2nd century Christian martyr from Rome about whom little else is known. 2 small boxes on either side of this model holds what is believed to be her bones. Meanwhile, on the wall just to the right hangs a large wooden cross that contains what is believed to be a splinter of wood from the cross. Now, whatever your religious background or belief about these relics or personal piety, There's no denying that when you walk into this space, you are truly in sacred space. And yet, with the way the church preserves and venerates these relics and mementos of its holy women and men, it's no wonder that our perception of saints has become what it is. Saints are holy, saints are respectable, saints are somehow beyond us. Saints might not be perfect, but they certainly live model lives of faith and discipline and service in a way that we can only aspire to. In a word, saints are blessed. The gospel readings for All Saints' Day, for all 3 years in the lectionary, also suggest something else about saints. They weep. Last All Saints, we wept with Martha, Mary, and Jesus at the tomb of Lazarus. The year before that, we heard Jesus' words from the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew, encouraging those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Today, in the Sermon on the Plain, we hear a similar encouragement in Luke's version of the Beatitudes. Blessed are you who weep. The differences are subtle but important. Where Matthew speaks generically, blessed are those, Luke speaks directly, blessed are you. And where Matthew speaks more piously of mourning, Luke gets more real and raw as he speaks of weeping. Mourning is formal, proper, even austere. Weeping is honest. It's loud, even messy. Mourning hides behind a black veil. Weeping holds shredded and tear-soaked tissues from crying so much. Saints weep loudly. Saints don't have it all together. Saints are poor and hungry. Saints might even be hated, excluded, or reviled just for being who they are. But we resist these kinds of saintly characteristics. We don't want to be poor or hungry. We certainly don't want to be hated by anyone. And loud and messy weeping, well, that just makes us uncomfortable. And maybe we also don't full-on desire the kind of wealth and laughter and lavish praise that earns us Jesus' pronouncement of woe, or at least not that we'd publicly admit. But more often than not, we do prefer that respectable side of sainthood, safely ensconced in glass display cases and reliquaries in basilicas and cathedrals. And yet Jesus reminds us, blessed are the saints who weep. Blessed are the saints who don't have it all together. Blessed are the saints who are poor and hungry. Blessed are the saints who are hated and excluded and reviled for being who they are. It is these saints to whom Jesus comes and blesses. When life takes its inevitable, unpredictable turns and is flipped upside down, Jesus gives us permission to weep and blesses us in our loud and messy weeping. Jesus gives us permission to be the kind of saints that Luther himself defined as forgiven sinners. By that very definition, it should be clear that saints are not perfect, and that's okay. Today is a day to commemorate and celebrate all saints. The saints sitting in the pews this morning, the saints of blessed memory whose names we will soon read aloud, and the saints of the church whose images are preserved in icons and frescoes and whose bones and tunics might even be enshrined in reliquaries. The caretakers of the relics at the Basilica of the Sacred Heart do readily admit that they aren't 100% certain that all of the relics in their care are authentic. And think when you think about it, particularly for those relics that are associated with Jesus or Mary or the apostles. The time gap alone between their first century world and our 21st century world makes it incredibly difficult for anybody to verify their authenticity with any complete certainty. But whether a relic is authentic or not, as one writer remarks, it doesn't diminish its effectiveness. These relics, in a way, remind us that real people with real bodies sought lives of faithfulness. Today we commemorate and celebrate All Saints, not as a day to elevate certain saints above others, but to remember what connects us in the communion of saints, past and present, living and dead. Saints, whoever they are, wherever they're from, and whenever they lived, are real people with real flesh and bone bodies. We are old, we are young, we are lifelong Christians, and we ask a lot of questions. We laugh with uncontrollable joy in some moments, and in other moments we weep loudly. You do not have to be good, the well-known poem by Mary Oliver begins. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clean blue air are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. Take your place in God's family of blessed saints, holy, imperfect, beloved. Blessed are you.